Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have had a wonderful day since I last saw you. Today, I have for you one of my most interesting and exciting team selections yet, not due to just the volume of transfers that I'm making, but also the plan and the fact that the plan was not one of the 5 or 6 presented in transfer plans. It very much builds on what I discussed in Everything You Need to Know. So if you have not checked that out, I would strongly consider doing so. Additionally, I have changed the output gain on the audio settings, so that should be much clearer for yourself. And following a very intelligent comment, or what appears to be a very intelligent comment on my last video, I have adjusted the way that I hold the mic so that hopefully the gaps in the audio are no longer there and have been eradicated. You guys have been so responsive to my request for likes. We've hit 400 likes on the last video, so I asked for the same again, and that would be, again, greatly appreciated, as would 6,300 subscribers. With nothing else needing to be said, let's hop into what will be a very interesting and exciting team selection. I present to you the first surprise. Now, when Pickford starts hauling, I'm not quite sure what to call it because we obviously had Sells and Sanchez supremacy, and that worked wonderfully and flowed off the tongue. But I have not come up with a tagline for Pickford yet, albeit I'm sure I'll be forced to quite soon. So why? Why have I bought a goalkeeper when it wasn't even in consideration by the time that I filmed transfer plans, which really wasn't that long ago, only about 3 days ago. No, it was 2 days ago, actually, given the time of filming. Well, I was looking at Robert Sanchez's fixtures and I realized Bournemouth, Manchester City away, Brighton away in 2 weeks, and Aston Villa away is not a recipe for success, especially with the way our defense is performing at the moment and the way that he has performed in the past, just making these little mistakes and other teams capitalizing on them. Now, you could say that's not going to continue, but it's continued for a while, and they do have this error-prone tendency to them. And given the way we play, we are not the most secure defense in the league either. So as such, even though there's West Ham at home sandwiched in between that, and after that there's Southampton at home and Leicester away, Leicester at home, potentially he's rested for one of those games as well, I've decided to sell him. What do I get with Jordan Pickford? Well, I get quite a few things. I get an extra game in the very short term because he's got the double game week. I get better fixtures in the short term. I also get fixtures which are haul-like fixtures. Brighton away, Liverpool at home, Palace away, Man United at home, Brentford away, Wolves away. All of those fixtures are the type where Jordan Pickford can, very realistically, accumulate about 6 saves, get 3 bonus points, 2 save points, and hit a 10-11 pointer, right? Roughly. That is absolutely magnificent. And he has that in his locker. He had it in his locker last year. He's had it in his locker this year. And as such, I'm very comfortable going there. But it's not just that. The Everton defence has notoriously been a difficult one to score past on a very regular basis. And even though Sean Dyche has left, given the system that Moyes has employed, and not only just that, the fact that he's not the most attacking coach anyway, and the players are still largely the same, right? And you are massively restrained by the players you have in terms of what you can produce, and just the general philosophy of football, I would say, in and around that club at the moment. I would say it's certainly geared to a more defensive style and more of a solid structure, having a solid structure, and that really being one of the foundations from which they build. You could argue that other sides are slightly different in terms of their structure. So for those reasons, I've transferred Sanchez out for Pickford. But as expressed in Everything You Need to Know, it is not just one transfer. This works as part of a combination. For example, I did consider Verbruggen and Flecken and Kepa and Henderson, and they were all cheaper and they all facilitated other things. But I thought that this particular combination was the one with the highest upside and, honestly, probably the most expected points as well. Well, it depends how you interpret Trent and Konaté's expected points. And as such, the one I have settled on. And honestly, I feel very secure owning him. And I'm quite looking forward even to the fixture for Brighton away, because Brighton haven't been able to put the side to lower in the league and present them different challenges to the side to play a bit more heavy metal rock and roll football or just aggressive football. And as such, there really is the possibility of a haul. Somewhat unrealistic in terms of the numbers, but in terms of FPL, in terms of how games go within football, I would say they're slightly higher than those numbers would suggest. From one surprise to the next. Now, I know he slightly camouflages with the background, given the color of shirt, but he is there nonetheless. It is Ibrahima Konaté. So why? Why have I faded Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold when both were in my initial plan? I thought about it for a while tonight, and the conclusion I came to was that given the fixtures, given that Ipswich is a very hard fixture to score a header from a set piece directly, given that's the same case with Everton away, and Bournemouth away is not so easy in doing that as well, I thought that the difference between them in terms of the fact that Van Dijk has better aerial threat, reduces because I'm not likely to get a goal from either of them in those 3 fixtures. Ipswich ranked second best for set piece defending in the Championship last season. Manchester City, I do not think crossed in a single ball directly from the corner. They took every corner short. And that was definitely preempted, right? It wasn't just something that De Bruyne and Foden were like, oh, we'll just do this now. No, they would have looked at Ipswich. They would have looked at how hard it is to score headers against them from set pieces, and they would have abandoned it. And honestly, Liverpool can put those balls in, and I'm sure they will. They'll go short at times as well, but I think they'll look for Van Dijk, and I think they won't have too much success. And you know what? If Van Dijk scores a bullet header against Ipswich, then so be it. I think the analysis was absolutely fine, and it's a fair assumption to assume that it's a very low probability that he does. I'm talking sub 5%. Okay, so that's that. Then, obviously, Bournemouth away. Bournemouth away is a bit in the middle. If he scores a bullet header, then good on him, right? And good on you if you own him. But I think it's a very safe, calculated gamble to take. And then Everton away. Again, very tough to score headers against them from set pieces. Now, Wolves at home is lovely, but it's not like Konate is completely inept in the air. He's very competent in the air. And not just at the back, but also when attacking the opposition's box as a general box threat from set pieces. So I at least have a chance of getting an attacking return in that game. So I genuinely do not see the difference between Van Dijk and Konate to be 1.3 million. Obviously, you'll talk about the bonus point system, but Konate really hasn't been that bad on it as well. And who knows, maybe he will be able to sneak one. And regardless, for that price difference, I'm happy to lose 1 or 2 points if that ends up being the case. So it really came down to him or Trent. And I looked at the 2.1 million difference. I look at the sacrifices I had to make elsewhere. And I just really wasn't ready to let go of Phil Foden. And I wasn't ready to limit myself in terms of other transfer plans that I would have had to make. And even if I go Foden to Mbeumo, that's only 1.3 million. I've got 1.2 in the bank now. But it really would have restricted me in terms of what I wanted to do elsewhere. So for those reasons, Ibrahima Konate is in my side ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. In terms of why I haven't gone for the double up, well, I just think there's more upside associated with a certain someone. Gabriel starts because it's Gabriel, it's Wolves away, it's not the worst fixture in the world. Yes, there won't be a William Saliba. Yes, Man United are in poor form. Yes, I could play Anthony Robinson, but I think given that Gabriel's goal threat, whereas Robinson has an assist threat, and given that Man United are a better side than Wolves, I think it makes sense for me personally to go and select Gabriel on the side. And then Lewis Hall's got Southampton away. I really wouldn't be surprised if the Saints score, but I can't bench him for Southampton away, can I? So this is the second of 4 transfers that I've made. And you know what? I feel really comfortable with Konate. I know what Trent can do, and he's definitely the danger. I'm not too worried about Van Dijk at all, and I'm not worried about Trent, but I am very well aware of how it could go. What I would say, however, is he really does need to pair the attacking return with the clean sheet and secure maximum bonus by ensuring that others haven't gone parabolic. Gakpo and Salah in particular are very good on the bonus system. And let's say he gets a corner assist, well, someone else is going to score that. It's probably going to be a defender. It's probably going to be Konate or Van Dijk anyway. So at least I'm putting myself in the mix there. And if he just gets an assist, Salah will be better than him on the bonus system, potentially one of him or Gakpo. And then let's say he gets 11, Konate gets 6. With a 2.1 million difference, I think I can make that 5 points up elsewhere. And that's on the assumption that he gets it paired. If he doesn't, if he gets an attacking return even twice, and he doesn't pair them with the clean sheets, well, all of a sudden, the chances of bonus go down significantly, especially the ones at the upper echelons, the threes mainly. For all of those reasons, I feel much more comfortable not going for Trent Alexander-Arnold while still being aware of what he can do. One thing I would say about that move and the selection in general is that I am still well aware that Trent Alexander-Arnold is better in isolation than Ibrahima Konate, like I stated, and like I stated in everything you need to know. However, I think given all the other variables at play, there is an opportunity here to be exploited. I think there is significant upside attached to that opportunity, and that is not the reason I'm doing it. I do genuinely think, in terms of expected points, with the way that I interpret the fixtures for the players that I have and I'm buying, I think I win by not going Trent Alexander-Arnold. Otherwise, I would. And also, simultaneously, without me trying to achieve this, it puts me in a position to win big. Right? Going against Trent, going against Van Dijk, not having double Liverpool defense, not having any other necessary for Alisson, keeping Phil Foden, as you can now see. All of those things put me in positions to win big, given the players I have. Because again, Konate is going to return. Very unlikely to be an assist. It's going to be a bullet header. And like I said, the probabilities of that are low, but I'm still putting myself in winning positions where I would say Trent is more orientated to getting an assist. That is that. And again, on this channel, you're going to get that and only that, playing to win. And I mean win, not just the mini leagues, but to win. Moving on to the midfield, you will see that nothing has changed, but Morgan Rogers has dropped to the bench. So why? Because I wouldn't be starting João Pedro, would I? Because that wouldn't be maximizing your upside when I have Jordan Pickford in goal. So there's a little surprise there for you as well. Captaincy, we'll talk about in solving your problems. I haven't given it any thought yet. But before I hopped on, I did say to myself, I am going to try and find a way to justify not going Salah captaincy this week. I have this thing. There's one thing which puts me off it slightly, which we'll discuss in solving your problems. But anyway, that's not the focus of it. Now, people spoke about benching Cole Palmer. I can speak about that in solving your problems a little bit as well. I wouldn't. He's just too high ceiling to bench and too high floor to bench for my liking. And to be honest, the floor is more of an issue because the ceiling for you guys should be fine because you're not interpreting this as a fixture whereby he is going to haul. Otherwise, you would play him. But the fact that he does undoubtedly have such a high floor, given his ability to return on the bonus system when he just gets a return, for me, he just isn't a bench. Anthony Gordon, I mean, what am I going to do? Away to Southampton, right? By all means, you play. And then Phil Foden. Phil Foden has stayed. So why has Phil Foden stayed? I spoke yesterday about how Phil Foden himself is a winning position. That certainly factors into the decision. I do not think that the fixtures out of the next three are particularly bad for him nor Manchester City's attack. Obviously, Arsenal away is tough. Saliba-less Arsenal away, far less so, but Newcastle at home, Chelsea at home, I think is absolutely fine. The one thing I really would like is for Bernardo Silva not to play. And that, I mean that with the greatest respect. I hope it is Gundo Kovacic again, or I just hope Bernardo Silva's not in the side so that he doesn't occupy those 8-lag zones. You saw against PSG. Now, I didn't watch the game, but I caught up with some of the highlights, and I saw at one point, Bernardo left 8, De Bruyne right 8, and Phil Foden right wing. Right? What did we see against Ipswich? We saw De Bruyne left 8. What did we see against West Ham, where City played really well, I thought, at times? In game week 3, I think it was. De Bruyne left 8, and then Phil Foden, whilst he didn't play that game, well, at least there was someone else operating in that right half space, right? Because De Bruyne has been good in that left half space and he gets City going, okay? And they also become more transition-proof because Guardiola doesn't enter those attacking zones as much as well. Whereas with Bernardo, you're lacking a bit of cutting edge there. And even in the Wolves game, this is something I spoke about, how City need more threat in that left half space and how it's actually such a key position for them, okay? So if he doesn't play him, I think I'm in the money. And the fact that they lost tonight, I think gears towards potentially having Bernardo Silva excluded from that side if he is, I'm not going to say able to notice that because he knows so much more than football, so much more about football than myself, but you get where I'm going. And in general, too high ceiling of an asset for me to depart with in this form. So I'm happy to give him one more week. And with a potential transfer plan, if I'm not to make the forward move, you will see how I actually can get Trent down the line. And when I say down the line, I mean for next week. But yeah, that's my rationale. I obviously spoke about it a lot in everything you need to know as well, so I'm not going to repeat everything I said there. But the midfield will largely be staying the same. Why am I benching Rodgers? Well, I spoke about how he was playing on the right-hand side as opposed to the left. I don't like that for his output. And the other thing is Villa, when they play Champions League, Premier League, haven't been particularly good. And albeit this time around, it is a Wednesday to Sunday 4:30 split, which is far kinder. With the upside, I think that my other option holds. I'm happy enough now to bench him. But say I don't make the João Pedro move, he's going to start over João Pedro for me. And it's not the end of the world, right? West Ham aren't a particularly threatening attack at the moment. So even if he has a floor of, well, he has a floor of 2, but if he gets 3, honestly, it's not the worst result in the world. I see 3 pointers for midfielders as not that bad. I'll take it at times. The other half of the transfers I have made. There isn't much to discuss about Alexander Isak, at least not yet, given he's got Southampton away and given the form he's in and given the player he is. So he stays. But 2 new arrivals, Cody Gakpo and Johan Wissa. I spoke about the upside associated to Gakpo specifically for this Ipswich game, and I want him for that, so I've got him for that. And he will be in the team, and I'm looking forward to it. This is the one transfer I've already done. The other 3 aren't affected by price changes, so not really a big deal for myself as of now, as of at least when I'm recording. But Gakpo he was going up, and thus I didn't want to lose 0.1, and I was more than happy to commit slightly early. The one that may surprise you is João Pedro to Johan Wissa. I just really like Brentford's prospects for 24 to 26. And in 23, like I said, I'm not going to play João Pedro because he's got Everton and I've got Pickford, but also because I don't think it's a particularly great fixture for him with how Brighton have been performing. I already spoke about why I don't like Rodgers too much this particular week, albeit it's not so bad given the time they have off and the timing of the Premier League game. So I've gone for Wissa. I've gone for Wissa because he's someone I'll want from 24 to 26. I think Alice is still there to be hurt. I don't think many teams have hurt them this season, but I do think they can be hurt, and somewhat realistically. And as such, with the form he's in, with the XGI he generates, the fact that I still don't think Palace are unbelievably secure in the middle, even though they play a back three, I'm more than happy to buy him and almost take a little bit of a gamble. There is one big caveat to this, which I will explain in the next slide. But apart from that, I am really happy with the team overall. There's not too many transfers I'll need to make down the line in terms of mass surgery, right? The team will still remain quite strong. And I've always got the cash cow in Foden. I can sell him like that, get cash out of him, and from there, just move the funds wherever I need to. And I'll get quite a lot out of him, and I'll solve everything. And even with this, I have quite a bit in the bank anyway. So that is the team lining up for Game Week 23. It looks very different, but honestly, I think it's super strong. I mean, triple Liverpool at home to Ipswich, triple Newcastle away to Southampton, Gabriel, who pretty much everyone owns, similar to Cole Palmer, Pickford with a Hall-like fixture, Foden in brilliant form, and then obviously Wissa's the one in the middle given the fixture, but you never know what happens there. Now let's just assume that I do not make the João Pedro to Johan Wissa transfer. It would mean that I have 1.2 million in the bank by the time we arrive at Game Week 24 and 2 free transfers as opposed to 1. So then, what could I do? Well, I could, of course, just play the team on screen, which has Morgan Rogers in the starting lineup, which is absolutely fine. Wolves away, I think, is all good for him, especially if, for whatever reason, he returns to the left-hand side. But if, for whatever reason, I get cold feet on Foden, if he performs very poorly against Chelsea, which I don't think will really be the case, I think it will be more of a City issue if that happens. And I look at Arsenal away and I think, you know what? Now it's Arsenal away, Liverpool at home. No, sorry. Now it's Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home. Let's just get rid because Arsenal and Liverpool in 2 out of the next 3. That's rough. And then I could literally take him out, move him to Brian Mbeumo. I would have Brentford cover for the upcoming fixture run. And I could just go move Konate to Trent if I really wanted. And I could do that for free. And then later, 1.5 to 1. Okay, fine. I can't stretch to Johan Wissa from João Pedro. But at least I will have some Brentford cover. And who knows, maybe that comes good. And I think just having 2 frees here leaves me a little bit more flexible. And also, just in case we get double game week 25, and we get a hint of that by the time we're at double game week 24, or if the team is just absolutely fine and I'm more than happy to keep it like this and take frees into 25, maybe to even just go a little bit more aggressive after the double, well, then I can do that. And, that's quite a good situation to be in. And the only condition I need to meet is just to avoid Johan Wissa for this period, which isn't the biggest sacrifice on the planet, right? Obviously, in 24, one move that is absolutely being made is Brian Mbeumo coming in, and whether that's for Phil Foden or Anthony Gordon remains to be seen. But if I don't do the Johan Wissa move, this is the luxury and the luxuries that are afforded to myself. So let me know in the comment section what you will do. I think Johan Wissa is meant to change in price Thursday night going into Friday morning. So any suggestions with a strong opinion behind it or fantastic rationale, I am more than open to. So that's the potential plan down the line if I don't sell João Pedro. 2 particularly active members of the community reside in the top 50 in the world. We've had people who have jumped rank in a huge way since joining. We have frequent football discussion from myself. We have very, very, very frequent FPL discussion from myself. And you could join and make a new friend. You could join and get one bit of advice which transforms your season. Or you could join and just have a really good time. Whether that be in the platinum tier with the exclusive WhatsApp community group or the diamond tier with our 1-hour Q&A Zoom calls. People are joining quite literally every day. So if you are interested, try it for a month. And if you don't like it, by all means cancel. As I've said, minimum downside, maximum upside. But if you are considering it with the double coming up, I would take action now because who knows, that one tip might just save your entire season or completely transform it. That is all she wrote for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I really do hope, for the love of God, that the audio was better for yourselves because it was very uncomfortable holding the mic at this position for the wrist. So let me know what it was like and I would love to see some positive feedback on it. As asked earlier, if we could get to 6,300 subs and 400 likes on this video, I would be greatly appreciative. And as mentioned, a very different team selection to what you thought would have come out, but I'm really looking forward to field this team on Saturday. Whether it's Wissa in the starting lineup or Rogers, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Johan Wissa. So, without anything else needing to be said, I shall see you very, very shortly for solving your problems. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.